I love working with a team towards a common goal.
For the camaraderie.
Camaraderie and playing with my teammates.
I play for my team.
Teamwork and the connections that I can build on and off field.
For the community and the exercise.
Because of the community and the competition.
I like playing Ultimate Frisbee for the competition.
I play for the competition and the fun.
For fun.
Because fun.
I love getting to work hard.
You get out of it what you put into it.
Leave everything out here.
Every time I step on the field, I want to be a better player.
You know, give something people to talk about.
Be happy but never satisfied. To step away from real life and focus on Frisbee.
I play because I love Ultimate.
Find your drive.
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 All right, welcome fans of Ultimate in Canada, or I should just say fans of Canadian Ultimate. You're hearing my voice again, Devon Asamoah. I am here with
Clay Howlett,
and we are taking you into the Open semifinals at the 2024 Canadian Ultimate Championships. We have a very exciting matchup here today. We have Red Circus from Halifax appearing in the program's first semifinal against Montreal's Mephisto, who's making their first semifinal appearance since since UCI, Ultimate Canadian Invitational, since in 2021. Clay, how are you feeling this morning?
Pretty good. A very different day than we've had all week. I was here for the juniors tournament. The sun was shining. It was glorious. It was hot, kind of muggy. And we had that throughout most of the senior tournament, but today it's been rainy. If you hear some background noise, that's us getting plastic and tarps and roofs and everything to protect our equipment, as the weather is quite different today, and we've definitely seen that come into play in our games, Devon.
All right, so Red Circus starting on defense in the pull. You saw a big pull come up from Greer Hunt, and let's see what the Montreal O-line can do. Centered over to Deg, isolating Rousseau in that horizontal stack. Rousseau just faking or under. Deg guarded closely here by McDonald. It's going to be a great handler matchup there. You know, kind of the young versus the old. Over on the far side to Guy.
Mephisto really likes this side stack.
Yeah, St. Pierre in acres of space here. Wallace just coming under. Deg still just so easily getting open in the backfield. They're going to try to key in. Duplex. Faking off Bernat. All right, St. Pierre here in the middle. How are you feeling about this stack discipline here from Mephisto?
It's excellent, letting the one-on-ones develop. They're using a player to make several cuts. It's not just a one-and-done cut. It's lots of real estate that you can move around and make lots of moves.
They shaking free of Hebert Cregan, sorry. And now Rousseau getting up line on Mullen. And that's just Duplex. Two coaches of Manic connecting for the goal there for Mephisto's first hold of the game.
Really good stack discipline. Let's just highlight that again. Mephisto loves the side stack, the cyclone, the washing machine, whatever name you're going to get to call it. But the idea is you can set up 80% of the field available for one person. It does allow the defense to poach deep, but when a cutter is given 6 to 8 stalls to just keep working their check with, when there's no help defense available, when it's really hard to guard either side because they have so much room, you know, it's a different kind of offensive strategy we don't see often, but it requires, as you say, stack discipline. If the rest of that side stack's going to come out and get in the way, the whole system falls apart.
Yeah, and in case you haven't been following this tournament, these two teams actually met yesterday in power pools. Mephisto taking out Red Circus by a couple points there. I believe it was 14-12, and you saw a lot from that game. You know, a lot of athleticism from Red Circus, a lot of determination to just fight back. They were down a few breaks, but the experience and depth of Mephisto coming over in that game. So, on the pull here, Christophe Tremblay-Jonca took a few games off. You know, he's on that Team Canada Open Senior team, so just resting himself. He's got Worlds in Australia in just a few weeks. But back to the action. We have Red Circus centering to Turner, isolating Dyer here in the end, getting over to Johnson, and a big shot over to Porter. We have Gay in the area, and that's a D. Jonca picking up quick for Lalonde-Landry. Just moving quick over to Salvas. Jung taking the Tremblay-Jonca matchup here on this Mephisto turn. A nice silky throw over to Dubé, a rookie for this Mephisto roster.
What a save.
And what a save by Lalonde-Landry on the far side of this field. Finding Monfet, working over to Salvas. A nice lefty around to Tremblay-Jonca. Just faking over the people. Salvas doing a little give and go there with Tremblay-Jonca. Now we have Lalonde-Landry getting involved again. Just steps outside of their end zone, looking to punch in their first break. That's a bit from Dyer, but couldn't reach it to Gab Monfet. Mephisto up with an early break here. All right, Clay. Early break for Red Circus. What is their O-line up to now?
Well, it was clicking. They did a side stack play. It began really, really well, and they had lots of simple options right off the hop. But I think what their O-line's having a little bit of discussion is, let's be careful with our shots. We just saw a big huck play, get caught up in the wind, which gave Mephisto a chance to get in the area and take it down. I believe that was Gay who got in the area, and he could because the wind kept that huck hanging. I was watching Red Circus's offense earlier against AFC in their quarterfinal, and the conditions were about the same, but they played a very, under game and took their time. So, you want to establish the teams that you are going to huck. They don't want Mephisto to think that they're just going to work it under all the time or the defense can clamp. But they're probably also saying, let's explore all our options, boys. We don't need to huck it right off the hop.
All right, so we have another Mephisto rookie, Barry, with a big pull here, almost falling over. But it looks like it's going to land out of bounds. So they're going to take it to the brick. And for those unfamiliar with Ultimate Clay, what does that mean?
Taking it to the brick. If the pull goes out of bounds, there's a 15-yard outside of the end zone, 15 yards up. There's a marker. It's in the middle of the field. We call it the brick. It is the spot where the disc will be put into play in the possession of offense if the pull goes out of bounds, as you see.
All right, so Turner tapping it in. Lacombe Burgoyne on the mark here from Mephisto. Over to Chapman. Chapman looking for an outlet, finding Foster. Foster, one of those few players coming over from Dead Circus, winning Canadian Ultimate Masters Championship. So that's for the Open Division 33 and up. Jung working the disc over now. McDonald coming over from his U24 mixed experience last summer in the UK, bringing a lot back to this community. Jung working it over to Chapman. Barry just getting in the way, but Giad staying close on the mark. Jung and Chapman working over, and that's Giad, a Mephisto rookie, coming over for the DN. Leonard hucks it fast to Giad, and just a little too far. It seems like he couldn't release for the bid there.
No, the wind keep pushing that. You can see he's pretty upset with himself right now, probably saying he should have bid, he should have had it. At the same time, I like the reward, throwing him deep right away. That throw, though, with that OI edge and the wind blowing from the bottom, or from the top of your screen to the bottom, the wind got underneath that right away and pushed it. That's got to be a flatter throw.
Yeah, so Turner tapping it in here for Red Circus, moving it back to Chapman. Jung getting open on the slash cut. Chapman getting open up line on Giad. Over to McDonald, guarded by Warwick. One of the few Americans in this matchup. I believe born in California, but did some school in Portland, Oregon, but moved to Montreal. So we're thankful he's here. Chung with the physical contact, retaining it from Leonard.
Mephisto has been very physical on defense.
And they're just working it up this open side here and just punching it into the front cone. That's Porter. And for the Red Circus hold, they got broken, but here we see a dirty hold, but a hold nonetheless to put Red Circus on the board.
Watching the physicality out of Mephisto right now, they're really close to their marks wherever they go, falling up line. We're seeing a lot of bumps after catches. Not saying, don't really have a comment on how I feel about the fairness of that right now. Some of these teams have this unspoken agreement where it's that's just how it's going to go. And it seems okay or it's reciprocated. However, tactically, what I am noticing is staying so close to your check, especially on the up line, is leading Red Circus to say, okay, I'll give you a bump. And then they're able to use that bump to get open up the line, right? So they're responding to the closeness, physicality of Mephisto with their own and actually taking advantage of it a little bit. And they just did that as they went up the line, up the line, up the line for the goal, right? And if you're an Ultimate player, or if you're just learning this now, the don't get beat up line adage is one that is constantly explained to you. Some teams, is it their strategy? Well, most of the time, yes, you want to take that away. Obviously, Mephisto will have to if Red Circus is going to score that way. It could be, though, that that's the one they want to let up and not let more, gainful throws get out that are harder to cover.
All right, so Will Dixon over here with the big pull for Red Circus. This second D-line unit being thrown out here. Collected by Duplay. Over to Rousseau. Looks like a host stack coming out here. We have Max Guy, past my generation, but still mixing it up with the young boys. So, Dig. Back to Rousseau. Lots of pressure here. Duplex just getting open. Looks like Rousseau in power position, electing not to huck. Finding Le Bourdet. Le Bourdet over to Duquette. Working quickly to Rousseau. Rousseau now back to Duquette, over to Day. Seems like they're very content with working it through their handlers right now. And just a myth throw here, Duquette looking for Guy, but we have Najim with the quick D. All right, transition defense now. Will Dixon looking for Archibald in the reset space. Red Circus a little deeper here. Can Dixon get the bid? Just a little too far for him, but it was a great attempt from the Queens alumni. So, Felix Antoine Dague here to pick it up. Rousseau using the spin move to get open on Dixon. And that is St. Pierre with the wide open goal. So, Mephisto, a hold with just one turn.
Another dirty hold.
Another dirty hold, up 3-1 now.
Yeah, we're saying dirty hold versus hold because offensively, in a perfect world, your offensive line will receive the pull, maintain possession the whole point, and score. And real perfection is when you can score within just, under 5 throws. But after a few turnovers, when you have to earn it back on the O-line and then score, I mean, you've done your job. You've held. You've done what you're supposed to do on paper. But it's also what defensive lines want, right? They chalk that up as a wash, per se, right? Because when they do get the turnover, obviously, if they convert, it's a win, getting that point back, that break point. But if they can force you to really work hard and make some mistakes, they're going to be tenacious at attacking you that way for the rest of the game, and statistically it does pay off, right? So Circus is probably looking at their defense going, okay, we didn't convert, that's what we'll work on, but we are putting enough pressure to cause some turnovers. Let's keep that up.
Yeah, and you saw it in that point there. Red Circus was doing the right things on defense, and especially after the turn, right? It was just a swing pass that went awry. Yeah. So Tremblay-Jonca for the pull here from Mephisto. A nice pull that seems like it's going to land in the middle of the Red Circus end zone, giving some time to Monfette to get down. And the bid attempt, but Chapman securing the over to Johnston. Chapman getting open on Monfette.
Ooh, I expect a call here, or at the very least a stoppage, as in the aftermath, he was hitting the back of the head. That was Johnston hitting the back of the head. I definitely feel that Monfette kind of stumbled. They did not want to collide with him in that fashion.
We hope Kyle Chapman is okay. He's standing. I think Monfette's trying to argue that it was just an aftermath thing, something that happened from him getting up and didn't actually affect the drop catch.
I can hear we're going vert from Mephisto, so it is a turnover.
The turnover does stand. All right. So over to Le Landry with a quick around to Dubé, and that's a break for Mephisto, up 4-1 now.
Well, Mephisto getting into an offense very, very quickly off that turnover after it was settled. You heard them say, or at least I heard, on y va vert. So that was, we're going to go vertical, a very standard end zone set from these teams. I think we've seen that just about from every single team that we've covered this week. I do want to highlight something on Mephisto O that I've been noticing in their side stack, their Cyclone. And that has been every time the thrower gets the disc, they fake a huck and think about it before noticing that they can, just pump fake something under, right? They're really seeing the last back come from Red Circus. And because this offense affords a big advantage to the defensive player who's the most downfield to poach off and look for any kind of option to play some help defense. But Mephisto's been very patient with their hucks.
All right, big pull here by Barry. Going to be fielded by McDonald. Center to Johnston. Over to Jung here now. Looks like a deep host track. So looking probably a dominator call from Red Circus. Working McDonald over to Jung and Johnston. And that's Foster getting open now under, getting involved into the play. Just McDonald over to Jung. A nice inside shot to Foster and slipping and sliding it into Chapman.
Yeah, happy to see Chapman back out there after kind of getting a collision and a knock in the back of the head, but he's okay. Foster doing some heavy lifting that point, as he did in Waterloo, as I covered Dead Circus's 2 matches over the stream as they got their gold medal. And Foster, at the same point, was just such a workhorse. He was a captain for Dead Circus. And out here leading by example for this squad.
Yeah, you have to appreciate the... I'm not saying older as in like old. Older as in like in Masters
Veterancy.
Veterans who double over from the Masters Championships to this senior division. So that is going to be Travis Foster, James McKenna, Scotty Hansen, and I think one more person that and Tim McIsaac. So they, I think, have 4 Dead Circus champions of the Masters division.
Yeah,
coming over here to try to will Red Circus into the final.
I don't know a lot of players that have gone the twofer, winning Masters and seniors.
I can tell you I haven't yet. I'm not eligible. But Brent Wallace.
Thanks for the reminder, my friend.
You know, just 8 years away? Let's go.
Something like that.
Brent Wallace here with the pull, fielded by Russo, centered to Duplex. Same old whole stack here coming from Mephisto, but Red Circus coming out in a zone. So Dig, Duplex, and Rousseau are probably going to do a lot of heavy lifting to get Mephisto out of this one.
Daglin, anchor handler for Mephisto and for Ensom, as he played in the final at Masters.
I believe he's also on the Team Canada Masters Open team that you might know a little bit about.
Yeah, I am the assistant coach for that team, so yes, I do know a little bit about it. He is on that team.
Well, he's doing great things here for Mephisto. Mephisto doing a great job of spreading Ryan Mullen there in the back of the field. St. Pierre and Le Bourdet taking opposite sides. But Mephisto content to just work it through their handlers. They haven't really made too much vertical progress up the field, just a lot of lateral swinging. Antoine Daig with the nice inside shot to Duquette. And Daig working it over to Max Guy. Now they're melted over. McDonald taking the duplex matchup. And nice inside to Duquette. Over to Guy, another veteran of this Montreal community. St. Pierre under pressure from Mullen. Le Bourdet sliding grab against McPhee. McDonald providing a lot of pressure on the upline reset from Duplex, but still getting the inside off to Dig. St. Pierre running miles around this Red Circus defense here, just getting the disc under at will.
Good scoop.
Scooped up by Dig. Now just trying to organize this Mephisto red zone possession. Getting over to Duplex and Le Bourdet on the around. Is Red Circus going to be happy with that D-line possession?
No, I see a lot of frustration coming off that line. When the force is broken, that means the offense is able to throw in the direction that the defense is trying to stop the throw from going. Usually a cascade occurs where it's continues to move to that side and there's nothing the defense can do. And I see some players just throwing up their hands going, don't get broken or no breaks. And what they're saying is we are frustrated with how the disc keeps moving across to the side that it shouldn't. Can I say, I just want to point out, Max Guy, man, I am so happy to see him playing. I didn't know he'd be playing in open, but I think it's a privilege to watch. I've played against him before. My ankles were never the same. So explosive, so quick. He can turn on a dime. And with, physical talent like that, I'm not surprised at all to see him playing in the open division. Sure. Last time I played against him was in 2019 when he was playing with Cold in Masters.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I don't want to quote me. I'm not sure if he's on the GM Team Canada team.
Oh, but is he of age?
I think so.
All right. Trombley Yanka with a big pull here, and it's still sitting. So this Mephisto defense getting down, but just going out of bounds. So Turner will collect for this Red Circus side. Looks like some split stack action. Clay, are you a fan of a split stack?
Yeah, I am. There's lots of fun plays you can run through it. If the other team knows what's happening, it is kind of easy to poach. You see number 20 on Mephisto here already playing last back. So Milan knows what's going on here. And you see him poaching in the backfield. Instead, Red Circus runs an Air Canada play. Little triangle movement.
Jung getting open there in the underspace. Over to McDonald, getting open on his TC U24 mixed teammate Julian Bernat. Over to Dyer. Johnston, affectionately known as Cran on this team, with a nice inside pass to Dyer. This Red Circus O-line coming alive here in the first half.
That split stack play, I affectionately know it as Air Canada, but you have the two players on the other side of the split stack, basically both run in triangles with staggered timing. Very difficult to defend or switch, as both players are sort of running in opposite directions at the same time, and every direction they run is a viable choice for the thrower to go to. So executed really well, and after they did, the rest of the cutters, the three on our side, were able to get involved, and it looked pretty easy.
Yeah, and the pros and cons of that play is that everyone in Canada knows it. You know, I think GOAT Andrew Carroll and Cam Harris made that play pretty famous, and they showed that even if you know we're going to run it, we're still going to run it and score on you. So the challenge is that it's such a good play, like you said, you know, but everyone does know it's coming in. That's why Red Circus is not scared to run the play on the opposite side and have some action in from the three side just to mix it up.
Yeah, you got to be creative with plays, right? You have to respond to a defense that has, you know, jumped in and called you out, called your bluff, as it were. We do expect teams that are in semifinals to have that sort of creativity, that sort of improvisation available to them. Otherwise, you're always a step behind in your strategy, and you don't get here.
Yeah, all right. So big pull up here by Archibald. The Red Circus hoping to get their first break of the game, but a brave, bold collect by Daig over to Duplex.
It's almost they're expecting a zone. We didn't see a side stack or anything. We just saw the players really spread the field and the handlers hang back.
So Russo working it back and forth with Daig. A nice little inside flick over to Daig. They're just used to navigating this Red Circus's zone right now. Max Guy with the disc in the center. Duquette leading St. Pierre. Not in yet, just straddling the line. St. Pierre having to work through his looks and his options. Getting a reset over to Duplex. And Le Bourdet, just a sneaky guy getting open in the end zone looking, where is everyone?
That was such a sneaky cut. Where has everybody? I love that celebration. And I love celebrations that aren't spikes. It's my new hot take. You know, you can be awesome and hilarious, right? Come up with these sellies that just tell the story of the talent, what you just did, how you just got open. I love it.
Yeah, good celebration here. Speaking of celebrating, it seems like Mephisto's coming together in this group huddle after every point on that. Are you a fan of teams that?
Yeah, you know what? This is something I've remarked in my. Hey, don't call me old. In my experience, all right.
Sorry.
In my experience,
25 years of playing this sport.
No, you know what? Quebec teams are great at this. If you're a team from Quebec, you constantly meet each other at the brick as a squad, the entire squad. Everybody hears the line call. It's really easy to cut through the noise. Then you talk about the plan, and then you break off onto the line. And you know what? I've tried doing it with teams, and it is so hard. You forget. And these teams have made it habitual. I see mostly teams from Montreal doing it, so it seems to be something in the culture of that town of this is how it's done. Such a great idea for coachability and team strategy and everything.
Yeah.
Lots of other teams do it, but they are so consistent with it. They do it every time.
All right. Big pull from number 00, Paul Hooley, getting this point started off. McDonald fielding the pull over to Johnston. And now Mephisto throwing a zone of their own here. It's similar diamond, but Jung working it over here. Hitting that nice inside to Turner to break open this zone. A little jailbreak action. Give and go with Turner and Johnston, and now they are melting. So Johnston getting over to Porter, who has stayed patiently downfield as his handlers dealt with the zone. Over to McDonald. Using some of this backfield space to Turner, but it looks like there is a call at the front of the stack.
Yeah,
Monfette
bumpy.
and Johnston talking.
Pretty bumpy between them. There, fisticuffs coming up from Johnson. That's funny. He's just explaining there's a lot of contact happening with arms. He's kind of smiling about it, and they're trying to work it out. While Monfett seeming a little, no, man, I'm not punching you, but you know, we've got observer bags there to help us and work this out. So.
Yeah, this is the corals of the open division. It's one of the most physical divisions, and you kind of expect a baseline of contact, but like you said, there's kind of this unwritten contract that you can talk about of what is allowable.
Yeah. And it's tough when you know, it's kind of like a slippery slope. Like once you start allowing some contact, no one talks about it. Well, as there's more and more and more, how do you come back from that, right? How do you drop back into whatever level was acceptable?
It's exactly what's happening right now. You call the foul and then you have a discussion. But back to the play, McDonald dumping it back to Turner. Turner trying to do a give and go here. Getting over to the break side space. Cooley doing a great job on McKellar on the underspace, but Huck to Foster. Big bid by Warwick, but Foster gassed up with the contact and putting turning back the clock and putting up a big score for Red Circus here.
Gassed up means he's fired up or it's good. He did something cool, right?
Jazzed, as some may say.
Yeah, jazzed up, yeah. But Foster, like I said earlier, just such a workhorse.
And that was a great find by Turner, not late in the stall count, but mid in the stall count, probably stall 4, stall 5, seeing Foster have the separation.
Yeah, we in coaching, a lot of the time we like to say, you know, if you don't see the option within the first 3 stalls, you want to use those last 6 seconds, supposed 6 seconds, to look around for a dump and play possession disc. But there are times, no matter what the stall count is, you're like, I see something developing, and even though I'm going to throw this at stall 6 or 7, it is a sure thing. This throw is happening, and you can wait and go for it.
And one thing both teams are doing right now in the first half that you might not see in the second is most people on the D-lines are able to play. They're rotating through 2 D-line units, the same O-line unit. However, we'll see which squad has to shorten their lines to try to, you know, put stronger lines up to put more points on the board.
And especially with Red Circus's O-line, I'm actually curious to see how they'll shorten their lines. They have a very deep O-line, and we saw in the earlier stream this weekend that they really cycle through all their 11 players on their O-line.
All right. Big pull coming up by Dixon. Dig centering to Duplex and trying to navigate this Red Circus zone again. So it looks like it's a bit of a diamond head zone where you have 4 players around the disc, 2 kind of wings in the mid, and 1 deep, all just communicating to make Mephisto's life as difficult as possible. But Duplex and Dig so comfortable around with the disc, you know, they wouldn't be on here for Mephisto if they weren't. They getting high in the stall count, shooting up a shot. Wow. Nice to reel it in by Rousseau. And Laborde getting the disc in the middle. Duplex working it over to St. Pierre. No, faking him off. And a nice OI flick to Max Guy. And that's an offense that's hard to stop.
It's hard to stop. I mean, if Daigle is going to throw a stall 9 knife blade, the disc completely vertical to a player, and have the perfect placement where that player can only get it on the break side with his check nearby. I mean, if I put on my coaching hat, and if I was coaching Daigle right now, I would go over to him and say, wow, man, you're a really good thrower. I'd like to know how you feel about your throw. And sometimes, you know, the Masters players, they're like, man, that's just what I do. That's the skill set I got.
That's the thing about Masters players that I've learned. It's kind of once you get to that age, you are who you are.
Yeah.
You have an identity and, like, you can be coached, but how much different are you really going to get, right?
Yeah. You know, and it's funny. We kind of facilitate. We say to the players, how do you feel about it? Do we need to reflect? Are you feeling gassed right now? And if you are, just keep going. Did I use it right?
Kind of.
Okay, I'll take it. What would you say instead?
Gassed is kind of like, you don't say gas. It's kind of something is gas. Like, there's no past tense of it. It's just gas for now.
I'm so not old, but I am so old.
I know, but like Mephisto jerseys are gas. I said that guy was gassed up when he scored, but it was a gas play.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Speaking of unwritten rules.
Unwritten, yeah.
Like, how do you keep track?
You live it. You are the moment. You know? Yeah, I don't have to worry about it's colloquial.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's what it is. All right. McDonald fumbling the pull a bit, but Johnson getting the pick here. Looks like Red Circus in a dominator set. Jung having to fight against Tremblay-Jonca. I don't envy that matchup at all. Tremblay-Jonca not having the same mileage he had like other people have. Him sitting out most of the games of this tournament. So turner over to McDonald, having to stretch for the grab. Looks like Red Circus is out of this dominator set. So they're just working in a vertical stack. Inside to Turner. Big bid by Burnett, but a bigger huck from Turner to Chapman. And that is a nice layout score. That was a gas play.
And I support the gas celebration. How about that one?
Yes.
All right,
I like that. I like it. All right. But so you saw Red Circus struggle a little bit in their dominator set, some good one-on-one defense, but as soon as they got into that vert set, you saw the big plays come out.
Turner and Chapman, they've had a few connections this game. Another one right there. Chapman has Turner's throws dialed in. Chapman has been coming back as a handler a lot. You'd love to see handlers getting out there and making cuts. And that connection, I would start exploiting this game. I was actually having a conversation with my friend Max Hunter, or if you're from Ottawa, Eric Hunter, who was coaching Stella Wicked West in
junior
women's, yes.
Ottawa.
And we were talking about sometimes in these games you want to use your whole team, you want to have that depth, and then there's moments where you recognize the hot hands, you recognize the connections that are working, and you just keep using it because it's going to run up the score for your team. And I'm loving the Turner-Chapman duo right now.
All right, so it looks like we have a pretty standard Red Circus D-line. No crossing over yet, no power lining, but Greer Hunt going to put up this pull. And let's see what defensive set Red Circus comes out with. So typical suspects of this Mephisto O-line, duplex to Dag. And yes, that diamond zone still coming out here. Viger on the mark. So Dag and duplex working through it. When you see the same zone time after time, how do you manage? What do you change, if not anything?
You try and think about the things you didn't do the last points, and you're like, even if it's not going to work, you're like, hey, team, we're going to throw some big OIs around. We're going to have a guy crash way more often, even if he doesn't get it. Let's make them adjust and do something so we can find the holes.
So St. Pierre working it to duplex. Duplex just outside the end zone, letting the Mephisto offense meticulate into its red zone set. A nice little inside to St. Pierre, and he had to elevate a bit for that pass, but Mephisto takes half 8-5 on Red Circus.
So 8-5 takes us to half, and I believe we'll be taking a break. Oh, no, we do have an interview.
We do have a halftime interview. You will see Alex Lemieux from the Mephisto coaching side, and we'll get that interview for you in a couple of minutes.
All right, so halftime underway here in the matchup between Mephisto from Montreal and Red Circus from Halifax. I'm joined here with Alex Lemieux, the coach of Mephisto. How you feeling, Alex?
I'm feeling great.
Yeah, you must.
Day. It's not raining anymore, so that's good.
You must be happy with the score right now.
Yes, I am. We had one opportunity on break side that we didn't quite convert. So that's one point we want to adjust in the second half, right? Like having those clean break and not missing opportunities. But our O-line is doing fine. They had like clean O's all the way, so really happy with that.
We've noticed a lot of discipline from Mephisto on offense this game so far. There's a lot of value in the disc. I've highlighted you wouldn't have heard this yet, but I've highlighted that it seems all your players are taking looks upfield, they're looking for it and looking off a lot of hucks and deciding to value, and you've got some really good anchor handlers in the back that can have the disc for a long time and still keep it alive. Is that something you talk about as a team strategy, or is that just more we have these guys we can trust in the back, or both?
Actually, it's something that we've done for 2 years now.
Okay.
Last year when I took on the mantle of coaching the Royal and Mephisto, we work on treasuring the disc and valuing that disc. One of the things that was missing out from that team was they would look for 2-3 pass and then huck it without any completion in 50-50, so I tried to reduce it as much, and with my coaches right now, we've tried to solidify this approach to our offense game.
That sounds fantastic. With your strategy and tactics there, is there anything mentally that you've made adjustments, or is it more you're just happy with where the boys are at mentally? How's that going?
Mentally, we're doing fine. I think we have been progressing all tournament long to get to that point. We know Red Circus. We play them in pools. So we're going to approach the second half with a little bit more grit, a little bit more determination. We've talked about, like my socks you can see right now, we talked about pride and purpose to make sure that we highlight those two values throughout our plays. So that's the kind of approach we want to take in the second half.
Oh, that's fantastic. I wish you luck, and merci beaucoup for coming up to do this interview with us.
Thank you.
Cheers.
All right, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that halftime interview with Alex Lemieux from the Mephisto coaching staff. Clay, what a first half we had.
Yeah, very exciting. Mephisto establishing that 3-point lead that we have. Man, we've talked about it so much, how, first of all, it can carry you to a win, because as the team that's down, it's such a difficult deficit to make up. If you can't get it throughout the game, the time will get you at the end. Meanwhile, you know, one of the most dangerous leads in Ultimate, because you think you're fine, but it's only 3 points. It really can change within a 5-minute span if a team starts clicking on offense. So I would say with the score of 8-5, this is still anyone's game. And we've seen a lot of athleticism. Both teams are working really hard to keep or make up that difference.
Yeah, and so when these two teams played earlier, it was closer out, but Red Circus did have a bit of a comeback to make that game a little closer. What are some things you have to replicate from that game to come back in this one?
Well, first of all, it was the attitude of never giving up. I was on the sideline for that game, and they just did not care about the score. Every point was a fresh point for them, and they came out firing. Quality we've seen of this team all week. I do think, while this is an offensive point, I think if they're going to continue to zone on defense, they need to get a little bit more Well, no, I won't say aggressive because they are aggressive. I will say they need to do something a little bit different to get Mephisto a little bit scared about the things that have continued to work. They have used their handlers, as we heard Lemia saying, to hold on to the disc for long and try and get it around. Circus has to find a way to disrupt that.
And one matchup you're going to want to watch out for is number 42, Christophe Tremblay-Jonca, on one of the strongest players on Red Circus, Garrett Jung, number 83. Garrett Jung, for Red Circus, went to that Team Canada tryout last fall, so he is a strong player in this country. And Christophe Tremblay-Jonca, obviously, you know, a leader on this Team Canada Open team, and he will continue to try to make Garrett Jung's life as difficult as possible, getting, like, not letting him be a key cog for Red Circus. So, Tremblay-Jonca bringing up the pull, as he's done many times. And let's see if that pull stays in bounds. So,
no.
All that pull practice for what? Just for a brick to pull, eh?
It happens, man. Keeping pulls in bounds is tough. And I don't say that because I'm absolutely notorious for pulling them out of bounds and having
At least they
nickname
let you
Victoria.
pull. They don't let me pull there.
They stopped letting me pull.
This split stack from Red Circus. McDonald slashing over, faking off Porter deep. Jung getting open on number 21, Gab Monfette. Dyer getting the disc here in the middle of the field. Looking for Jung also. Looks like Tremblay-Jonca opting for the Johnson matchup. And Porter getting up, and huge over Charles Gay from Mephisto. Red Circus is going to need more plays like that as they try to get in the game.
Oh, that grab and stare down is money. That was a wonderful catch. Oliver Porter, you know, little self-deprecation from him. I spoke to him earlier, and he's like, oh, man, they said I was playing well in the stream. What a wild thing to say, but after a play like that, confirms it. Just wonderful timing, especially that I felt with the minute height difference there, but also the timing that he did not have a chance at that, but just perfect timing to catch that at the apex of his jump.
And you saw that little Sully there flexing on Gay. Flexing as he does many times, because that boy does hit the gym. If you follow him on Instagram, he'll post some very fun stories to see from workouts.
How much he squat?
I don't know. Probably more than 200. All right. So this Red Circus, like you said, let's see what this D-line can cook up, because they're going to have to put a little more pressure on than they have been applying before, because it seems like the handler core of Rousseau, Daig, and Duplex have figured out that diamond zone. But I am not in the Red Circus camp right now, so we'll see what Coach Peter Lewis has cooked up for the group.
Well, I think their zone, I mean, if you're Red Circus looking at it, you're probably thinking, hey, they're throwing stall lane throws, blades over the top, whatever. That's good stuff. Those are low percentage throws. But as we heard from the Mephisto coach, they're okay with that. So I think Circus does have to make an adjustment.
So it looks like they're going person. Inside shot to Duquette to start it off. Over to Le Bourdet. Max Gee getting the disc. Now Daig with the nice flick hook. And Dixon tips it. And Duquette couldn't reel it in. This is, I think, one of the first break chance of the half for sure for Red Circus. So let's see if handlers and experienced players like Brent Wallace and McPhee can help muster this Red Circus D-line unit to their first break of the game. So over to McPhee. And just a throwaway here, Duplex picking that off, working with Le Bourdet. That inside to Hebert Cregan just going awry. Working the break side here to Duquette. Duquette over to Rousseau. Low grab for the tall man from Quebec City. St. Pierre out in acres of space right now. Nice little inside to Le Bourdet. Viger with a lot of contact, uncontested foul here. Le Bourdet just saying, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, I think he was a little frustrated with that. It did kind of look like a backpack that is laying out into his back with no play on the disc.
Play resumes very quickly. Hitting the around to Daig. Dixon with a nice corral to stop that break side motion and just finding Duplex over. That's one of the challenges you have when you have such a wide corral. You saw Dixon doing a good job earlier to stop that throw, but never really going closer to seal the mark and stop, challenge any type of around throw.
It's true. They've also looked at, though, I mean, they have been going no around in the zone, and when Daigle has it, he's just throwing those inside blades, right? It could be an individual adjustment on him to try and stop that.
All right, sorry about that, team. So, a hold from Mephisto, 9-6. That same 3-point gap. We will see what I guess Red Circus I guess Red Circus is going to try to score quickly so they can get back on defense and produce more of these break opportunities. But a good start for their D-line this half. They got a turn. They got to pressure D. You know, Dixon doing all he can on that deep shot. But this next D-line unit from Mephisto, Barry with the pull. Yep. So Barry launching the pull over. We see Red Circus getting ready into their host stack, and it just goes out of bounds. So Turner will take this disc for Circus, and he will bring it up to the brick mark like we talked about, 15 yards up from the end zone. Seems like Lecombe-Burgoyne is going to be on those handler-defender duties as Red Circus begins to set up in this host stack. The two lines just getting used to each other, right? You know, watching each matchup. So Turner with the around flick to McDonald, and almost a nice second effort bid. Felix Leonard making that difficult to shut down. Felix Leonard also coming back from that experience with Team Canada U24 last year. So we love a TC teammate matchup. But Lecombe-Burgoyne, inside shot to Barry, over to Leonard. Giard reeling that in. Jung switching on to him. Giard over to Houli. Houli to Monfette. Monfette with the nice around to McKeown. McKeown, a veteran of this Montreal community. Around to Giard, and that sliding grab just landing him out of bounds. So
observer staff right there to make a call. While he was hitting the ground, his first point of contact was on the line when he caught that disc, so that is out.
So Johnston with the reaching grab. That's always nice to have long arms. So Turner coming over here, looking off Dyer. McDonald coming through. Big bid by Leonard. Safely. McDonald with the huck, looking for Foster. And what a throw, landing just in the front of the end zone. Foster, not a stranger to deep striking here for this Red Circus squad.
No, he's made a lot. That's his second goal of the game. He's been challenged down there, but expert timing. And sometimes, you know, timing is what you need. If you can get your check moving the wrong way and just find them that perfect moment off their heel, you can maintain that 6 feet of separation that he had the whole way of your strike as they are just catching up to you right off the hop. So great timing from Foster on that.
So a 9-7.
I was just going to ask. 9-7.
Yes. Yeah. 9-7 for this Mephisto squad. Does Red Circus start to try cross over some people to put some more pressure on this Mephisto O-line?
Yeah.
Is it too early?
I don't think so. I think you know what? I'm going to take that back because we haven't seen the zone in a little while. So perhaps you're keeping the same D-line and you're trying something different with them. And maybe you're trying to work a strategy that you've only had 1 or 2 shots at this half. And you're going to say, okay, we're going to give it a few more goes or 1 more go or whatever before we do that crossover. So I think you're right, Devon. I think it's maybe a little bit too early because you haven't tried enough of your different strategies yet, but we shall see.
And we will say crossing over your D-line isn't mandatory to win a game. It's just another look. So deep pull here from Hunt in the back of the end zone. Russo letting it drop, but Duplex taking the disc and working it quickly to Daig. Daig looking off a couple options, finding St. Pierre here, getting out of their end zone. Oh, and it looks like Dixon with a bit of contact in the back of Duquette. Duquette asking for help out. Hopefully everyone's all safe.
I think so. I think it was more, dude, you contacted me when you fell down. It's like, yeah, you're right, I did. I'm sorry.
No foul, no contest. Disc coming in on 0. Duquette actually not playing for Mephisto last season, playing with Winnipeg's General Strike, but bringing his talents back to Montreal here. So Dig on the sideline, hitting the inside to St. Pierre. Over to Duquette. Now Guy just playing catch with Duquette in the middle. Dig over there. Inside to Duquette. Dig just going every other right now.
Big trust in their handlers.
Facilitating it over to St. Pierre, and it looks like he will be the next option. McDonald doing all he can to try to shut that down, but not much you can do on a handler that can just step out like that. Every fake so menacing that you have to try and cover. Over to Rousseau. Nice inside to St. Pierre, and with the twinkle toes keeping it in the end zone. So Mephisto's 10th point, keeping that same 3-point lead they've had from half.
Mephisto just plays a different handling game. They're just totally okay with getting it back in their handlers' hands and letting the handlers drive rather than looking for continues, that is, getting it to a cutter and having that cutter look upfield. They're content with the handlers holding it on for longer. And the handlers are, you know, they have enough talent that no matter what mark they get, whether it's the no around or inside, they're just going to take whatever is given, right? I am wondering how Deg's knees are holding up with that step around.
You know what? I see him hit some low release flicks on the inside, but even with McDonald, a shorter defender on him, it's like every step out he makes, you could throw that. So you kind of have to bite on every one. He made 2 or 3 pivot movements and had McDonald flying.
Yeah. The step around, a thing we like to talk about, so important in throws. And when you have a big step around, you can pretty much throw whatever you want. I got the privilege of learning that from one legend, Mike Grant, who's in the Canadian Hall of Fame for Ultimate.
Oh, love that.
He's got big step arounds.
So, big pull from Tremblay-Yanka. Looks like Johnson will collect it here in the back of their end zone. Centering to McKenna. We haven't called his name, but another one of those dead Circus players coming over. So, Jung slashing across. Finding Porter now. 2 bids in a row from Mephisto, ratcheting up the defense, even though they are up by a little bit. Porter inside over to Chapman. A little frantic energy with here, but McDonald with a low grab to keep possession alive. Working it around to Porter. Archibald going deep, and a huge grab beating Tremblay-Jonca to the end zone. Don't hear that often.
I really like that throwing choice from Porter. He was putting that to the side of the field with a lot of room that Archibald was always going to be able to take over his defender, but the throw came off really tight on that outside in edge, but Archibald making the athletic play to reel that in.
Yeah, he was actually looking in the wrong direction when that throw went up, and then he had to go look at the other shoulder. A floaty enough throw to give him some time to make a change of direction, showing you that it was a really good throw. But yeah, trusting in your teammates in this deep game. Red Circus has thrown it deep, and they're not scared to use that deep space to score some of these points. But nonetheless, down 10-8. They really do need to get their first break of the game so Mephisto doesn't just, run out the clock and play that time advantage game.
Yeah, which I will add, Red Circus did do to AFC in the quarter. AFC had a chance to bring the game within 1 to, essentially, to keep it short, just to nullify the hard cap that was about to come on in 90 seconds. And right before the poll, Red Circus called the timeout, which sealed the game in their favor. So, that timeout, those timeouts can cut both ways.
Yeah, let's hope we don't have to get there. But we are talking about their quarterfinal against AFC Rumble, the team based out of Edmonton. Not to be confused with AFC Whiskey Jacks, the team primarily with some
Thank you for correcting me. I forget
players.
about that.
Big pull here from Greer Hunt. Looks like Archibald crossing over from that O-line group, so Red Circus getting a little more serious about these defensive points here. Duquette slashing over, though, guarded by Dixon. Lot of pressure on the underneath, but Max Gee still getting it. St. Pierre working over to Duplex. Duplex with a nice leading throw. And Archibald picking that off. You saw Lobordet dragging in that extra defender here.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of that. The double cuts and putting more defenders in the mix to make a play.
All right, Hunt and St. Pierre just getting a little tangled up.
Yep.
I'm sure everything's all no malice intent from there. But the
no malice intent, but sometimes, yeah. So we've spoken to the observers about this. Sometimes it's the decision you make, even if you don't have malice behind it. The observers will come over and let you know, hey, that was actually the wrong decision, and it was dangerous. I don't think you want to hurt people, but you can't make a decision like that, and I'm going to show you that with a blue and sometimes a yellow card.
So we just saw a blue card coming over here for St. Pierre, just for that angle he took on the defense. So Hunt shooting it up to double coverage, but they have two players, and it looks like Daig outpacing Dixon and Hebert Cregan for that deep defense.
How do you say he still got it, en français? Or is that a thing?
He still got it. Il still got it. All right, so Rousseau on the front cone here, inside to Guy. St. Pierre making that deep strike, but someone must be poached under. Duquette in the middle of the field. Duquette to Duplex. A nice bit attempt by Archibald, but Laborde airing it out, looking for St. Pierre. And what a gorgeous throw. Observer calling it inbounds, and that was a pretty exciting point for Mephisto there.
What a throw, first of all. Nowhere where the defender can get it. And what a toe drag to keep that in bounds when you have throw placement like that and the wherewithal to keep your toes in. You just, as a player on the defense, you just kind of got to look at it and be like, well, I don't like it. I want to find a way to stop it, but that is one of the hardest things to stop. Almost, what are you going to do?
So I can't help from being a bit critical about that Red Circus D-line there. You know, Hunt with the disc in hand, their second break chance of the half, and just putting up a huck to double coverage there. What do you think about that decision?
You mean the first one that we saw earlier that Archibald got?
Archibald got the D, but then the huck that Daig D'd.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, Daig ended up getting that over to Red Circus receivers. I was fine with it. The throw itself was the problem. Right? The execution in that throw, it was underthrown. Both defenders had to slow down, and they threw their heads back, almost looking behind them, right? They were looking straight over and then had to track behind, and Daigla was able to take that inside line then because he was a little bit behind, so he had full momentum and a way better read all the way through. So I don't think I have a problem with throwing the two receivers going deep when defense is not in the area, but the throw has to be a leading throw.
So Turner centering to McKenna here. This Red Circus O-line has been steady ever since their two breaks early on. Porter here. Looks like Chapman is calling a foul on Salvas, saying he just pushed him. That's a bit of a no-no in the ultimate world. We do know Open gets the rap that anything flies, but Chapman putting his foot down and saying, no, this is too much for me. And now if you take a look at this Red Circus offensive spread, you do see, two handlers back, three handlers a little deeper, and then Jung and Chapman in. They'll probably look to melt into a vert later on. Paul Hooley tapping it in against Oliver Porter. Dyer on the inside here. Over to Turner. Turner with the big huck here. You have 6 receivers, but Chapman looking for the toe drag, but just a little too far out of bounds. That was a great effort there.
Unsurprised to see Turner go to Chapman again. That throw misexecuted again. The wind is moving from the top of the screen to the bottom.
Okay, so Leonard immediate huck back. Can McKenna get there? Or Barry with the superior foot speed over to Giad. Giad looking for options, finding Salvas. Back to Giad just outside the end zone, a little high release to Leonard. And Leonard with the long, he was the one who immediately put that huck up, and now he catches the goal. So first break from Mephisto in a little bit for this second half. And they are now up 12-8.
extending that lead right now at this stage in the game is critical, as it is quite high, and we're going to check the time and let you know where we're at with the
So now Red Circus with the difficult decision after their O-line just got broken. It looks like they're going to have to start putting the foot on the pedal here, probably shortening up the rotation, probably looking to get some key players over onto the defensive side. You can see the body language looking a little tired here walking to the line. I'm sure, you know, they were chanting Bears, Bears, Bears. So looking to get some energy injected back onto the field.
25 minutes remain in the game. This tournament.
That's a lot of time.
It is, yeah. This tournament has hard cap only, and 25 minutes is a ton of time to make up a 4-point deficit. So, that being said, hard to do in 25 minutes when Mephisto is playing with the way they are. If Mephisto was suddenly having a meltdown, totally different story, but with the way they've been playing, it's going to be tough.
All right, Charles Lejanka with the pull. McDonald getting turned around. That disc at the back of the end zone, because it rolled out of bounds, it looks like they'll be able to bring it up to the front. So Johnston going to bring it up to the front for Mephisto. Sorry, for Red Circus. And Johnson trying to work quickly. McDonald cutting away. So quick break chance here. And you saw Monfette with the inside shot to Lelandry. A little unraveling coming from this Red Circus O-line group now. Down 13-8.
Yeah, it's so funny how you and I up here can see these scores change by just 1 point, and yet it becomes such a game changer, right? 25 minutes left, but then getting broken twice in a row, and now that Mephisto's only 2 points away from the victory, Red Circus has to more than triple that without allowing them to score to win this game. So it is going to be a very tough thing to do. We have a timeout call, I believe. Well,
from
actually,
Red
I don't know from who.
Oh.
It could be Mephisto.
It could be, but I feel like it's from Red Circus. The vibes are saying.
The vibes are saying that.
Vibes are saying Red Circus. I'll usually ask Clay this question, but I'll ask myself this question and I'll answer it. Devon, what do you think they're saying in these timeout huddles? Well, great question, Devon. I think Red Circus really has to remind themselves, like, hey, not only have we been here before, but we've come back from worse before, you know? They're a team that practices a lot together. There's a lot of continuity coming over from that roster last year who had a couple of stumbles and actually lost to AFC Rumble in their pre-quarter crossover game. So, you know, it's kind of that story of you have to take your hits before you can make it to the big dance yourself, and that's exactly what they proved here today, right? Overcoming that stumble last year, coming 9th. Obviously, they would have loved to be a top 8 team last year at the big grand CUC we had in Surrey, British Columbia. But hey, you know, they rebounded and they came to the semifinal here for the first time, and obviously they would love more. They would love to play their best game here in the semifinal, but they are coming up against a very experienced Mephisto team who also gets to play together earlier in the season in pretty intense games, playing in the semi-professional league, the Ultimate Frisbee Association. So they are happy to be here, but looking for more, and more will have to come from this next point. We want to see a nice crisp point. Great pull from Paul Hooley to start up the point. Chapman to Turner to start. Looks like a little flood play here. Turner not finding what he wants, but hits the inside to McDonald. Such a trusty and reliable initiating cutter for this Red Circus. OI flick to Porter. Porter shooting it deep to Archibald. Looks like it's going well. And that is how you show them we come back from 2 breaks.
Can I turn my mic back on now?
Is your mic? Yo,
no,
yes.
I got you.
Sorry, yeah. I can just do this by myself. You know, Clay, he's just an accessory to this broadcast. But
hey, successory. If I wasn't here, you know you wouldn't be doing as well.
Oh, I would leave. we would just have a camera, no one talking. But Clay, how you doing now?
Doing great. I love that throw to Archibald. He has been.
I thought you were going to say you loved my solo commentating.
Well, you had such a great self-interview right there.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know.
But yeah, how's the game going also?
Oh, yeah, well, I was going to say, I love that throw to Archibald. He has had the hot hands the second half, or at the very least has shown that he has the fire to get it done for Red Circus here. He's got some good heads up defensive plays under his belt this half. He's had some big bids, a few goals. Like, I would be trusting him a lot right now. Sure, the man needs a rest after big points, but if I'm Red Circus, I'm probably deciding let's keep Archibald on right now. He is getting it done, and that comes in waves for teams, right? Some guys have the hot hands certain games, and you want to keep them out there.
Yeah, and you're actually seeing the standard D-line unit for Red Circus come out here. No crossovers from that O-line that just held. So Brent Wallace trusted here with the pull, but you have Hebert Cregan, Savoie, Dixon, McPhee, Viger, and Mullen here trying to punch in the first break of the game for Red Circus. But starts with a big pull here from Wallace. Mephisto easily working it up to their brick mark. A nice little host stack play. Hitting the around to St. Pierre. Low grab. Backhand force here from Circus with the home calls. McPhee getting the mark on Duplex. Duplex with the big shot. You have 3 Red Circus defenders, but Will St. Pierre with all the speed. And it looks like he just couldn't get it. Might be calling it injury, very winded.
Yeah.
It was a big bid.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 on that shot, just because all Red Circus defenders saw that coming who are downfield. Particularly number, I believe, 37 out there, if you can help me with who that is.
On Circus?
Yeah, on Circus. But
Wallace. Oh, Hebert Cregan, yeah.
Thank you. But that throw had to be far, and it had to lead so far because that was the only way the defenders weren't going to get involved, and it was too far for the receiver.
And Burnett, a star defender for this team, playing on the O-line sometimes, coming on for St. Pierre, and Jung making the substitute for Savoie for Red Circus. So Dixon here with the disc on the far side, looking for Hebert Cregan here. They're just working up the O-line over to Mullen. We saw Mullen with a couple key grabs late in their Grand Truck game on the first stream day. Dixon just running around, not scared of the big shots. A nice little insight to Mullen. Great hands there. Mullen with the hammer to Hebert Cregan, a one-handed grab just outside the end zone. Couple pretty exciting throws. Jung, the veteran, hitting the inside to Dixon. And that is a Red Circus break for the first time of this game, making it 13-10.
And with 19 minutes left in the game, certainly a easy amount of time to make up the deficit, but you need to keep clicking as Mephisto is only 2 points away from the dub. I believe they're calling a timeout. These Montreal teams, like I said earlier, do like to meet in the middle and talk, and you love to see it, but this does look like a timeout taken by them.
And a continuation from our last Red Circus stream, they just got their first Fruity Bomb, if you remember the lore story. And they corrected me that I told the story wrong. Sorry, the story was correct. It was just the characters were incorrect. Will Dixon was not the one who asked for a Fruity Bomb. It was Bailey Darling, another mainstay on this Red Circus team. However, just going to a wedding. So couldn't make it to this year's CUC. But Bailey Darling, I'm sure I and Red Circus miss you. Imagine having a wedding on CUC weekend, Clay.
There's several players I've heard about. I know one, actually, Dave Whitney Brown, who would have been playing with Regiment, but he's getting married. And several players from other teams that I know are actually there and weren't able to attend. So,
I hope
hey man,
watching
Devon,
the stream.
it's when you can get the venue. You got to book that months in advance, years even.
Ultimate Canada comes out with nationals well in advance as well.
Okay.
I'm sure they didn't have to conflict, but yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think they're watching the stream at the wedding today?
Well, you know, it would certainly make the speeches interesting.
Instead of the speech, I can just zoom in. They can just put me up on YouTube.
They could. Yeah, that could be our halftime, you know?
That would be a nice halftime interview. But back to the game, it looks like a similar D-line coming out from Red Circus. You still have Archibald now crossing over. He plays both ways on this Red Circus line. Hebert Cregan back out. Wallace with the pull. Johnston, first appearance on the Red Circus D-line. So that's an O-line crossover. Foster, you know, bringing up that experience from Dead Circus. McPhee, and I believe that is Dixon there. So a charged up D-line for Red Circus. trying to put them back. A great pull from Wallace, floating very well. Daigle will be here to center to Rousseau. Looks like a host stack play, looking for Duquette initiating out of that host stack. Johnston against Rousseau here in the backfield. Inside to Daigle. Working it quickly to Duquette with a huge layout D from Archibald.
Look who it was, Archibald. I'm telling you, this is his half.
Great anticipation there from Liam Archibald. Wallace tapping it in. Looking over. Nice inside to Johnson with a layout grab. Over to Foster. Dixon getting the disc. Looking deep for Hebert Cregan. He's going to have to go up early. And that is a second break in a row for this Red Circus side. Fire me up, Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Just as you thought we might be wrapping this up, we suddenly have a flat ball game here, folks, as the game is now within 2. Circus scoring a break right after a Mephisto timeout. Mephisto has their hands up. They're cheering, trying to keep their spirits high because it can be demoralizing to get scored on after taking a timeout, especially when a team is on a comeback. Exactly, not the score, but exactly the story from yesterday. Mephisto seemed to have it in the bag. Red Circus had a late comeback. Mephisto was able to hold on with a few breaks back near the end, but second try here, Red Circus is probably thinking about yesterday a little bit, and this time looking for the achievement.
And you talked to Coach Alex at halftime. How do you think that halftime strategy is working out, and looking right now, what do they need to go back to find the same success they did earlier in the match?
I feel that having the handlers break around with throws or break the inside with blades or anything like that, but really punishing the mark with whatever they give up and getting the disc to the break side was an excellent strategy, and Circus didn't have much of an answer for it. Now they're hesitating a little and going to the open side, and Circus is showing us the legs to get it done. I'll point out, double shifting, 45 for Halifax. Liam Archibald.
As he should be, but some fresh legs coming out. Savoie here on the mark of Rousseau, and it looks like Burnett breaking deep inside over to Monfette. Archibald over to Burnett. Here on the sideline, looking so free up line, but electing to go around to Rousseau. Hunt trying to help out. Burnett getting it open here on the break space. Around to Laborde. Laborde just steps around, very disciplined cutter for this Mephisto O-line. Burnett over here as well. And it looks like Savoie tried to run up over to Rousseau now. Rousseau looking for Monfette, just beating Archibald to the front cone.
So Mephisto now within 1 of punching their ticket to the open final. Circus, though, we're seeing the cheers. Bears, they are still keeping their spirits high, aiming to complete the comeback. They have not at all given up in any sense. A tenacious group. We know they're going to fight to the end.
Yep. Yeah, 14-11 right now. Not an insurmountable lead, you know. All you have to do is get a hold in 3 breaks to win this game. But
2012, Victoria, CUC Nationals,
did they
Furious
have
George.
YouTube back then?
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I need to behave. I'm so sorry.
That one cut deep. Anyway, Furious George.
Was it on stream?
It might have been. I don't know. Dude, I was there. That's the only way I'm able to tell you this.
Was it
but
on
I was able to watch
or something?
I was able to watch Furious George come back from the 14-11 deficit against General Strike and win the game 15-14, which was an epic comeback. So it can happen.
Yes, and very fun fact. Maybe not to fun in people in Winnipeg, but I just learned Winnipeg General Strike is actually based off of a real strike that happened in Winnipeg in 1919.
And now who's showing their age?
I wasn't around back then. You weren't around back then. But, yeah. Okay, back to the game. Big pull up from Paul Hooley. Lefty D-line handler for this Mephisto squad. But all of that left-handedness leading to another OB pull. How difficult is it to keep it in bounds, Clay?
Pardon me?
How difficult is it to keep the pull in bounds?
Well, when you're pulling it, it doesn't seem difficult at all. But then you pull it, and it's a problem.
All right. Little poach set here from Mephisto. Not to deter Turner. Over to Chapman. Big burst of speed from Porter. Inside to Wortman. We haven't called his name much this game, but he's making an appearance on the field. McKenna over back to Chapman. Chapman working to Ben Wortman. One of those utility cutters, doing all the right things, making the clearing cuts. And Chapman just missing that around throw from McKenna too far. You saw a lot of pressure there from Le Landry, making sure that no one was going to get that disc.
Yeah, clean pressure too. That was great defense.
So Lecombe going with a nice inside to Le Landry. Working it over back there. Number 84 just trying to point to where he wants his cutters to go. McKeown looking off that deep strike. Hidden Cojoner. Cojoner looking off Giard in the deep space. Lecombe going, getting the resets. Looking a bit free here in the backfield. Finding Hooley around. Hooley inside to Le Landry. Leonard now. We saw Leonard with a big huck and score to put in Mephisto's first break of the second half. Giard at the brick mark. A nice little round looking for Cojoner. Cojoner known for his big bids, but just couldn't reel that disc in. Maybe showing some inexperience because they haven't had that many offensive chances in this game.
No, it seemed the energy was becoming not frantic.
You can say frantic. It's a real word.
No, because they weren't. They were really looking off any deep shots or anything like that. But it suddenly became urgent, and they rushed the throws.
So Turner over to Workman here, just outside of his end zone. Now over to Dyer. Chapman over here. Inside to McDonald. Leonard building on the ground. Dyer with the big hook over to Porter. Porter's going to have to box out Hooley really well here, and Hooley getting the better of that matchup. And it looks like Porter might have caught him in the head, unfortunately, on that follow-through.
Yeah, or at least in the spine. I mean, big airplay there. Obviously not intentional contact, but sometimes it just hurts.
Paul Hooley, one of the many players that came up playing McGill in Montreal and also in the Manic system, making the jump up to the Mephisto level.
I'm very unsurprised to see the substitute in Félix-Antoine Daigle.
Really?
Yep. O-line, get your anchor handler who has been just throwing whatever he wants with his step arounds all game.
And with that inside to Giard. Mephisto hoping to punch in this break to win the game. 1 point away. Leonard with the inside to Lecombe going. A nice inside to Giard. Big bid from Chapman. Over to Le Landry. Some slipping in the backfield. Lecombe going.
Far more patience.
Le Landry over to Leonard. Continuing flick. Turner just couldn't do it. Trying to long jump it in. The observer calling him inside the end zone. And that is game. Mephisto with the break to win 15-11 over Halifax Red Circus. Yes, it's their first semifinal, but you had to think they came into the game with the belief that they could upset this Montreal squad.
Yeah. At no point did I think that Red Circus was punching up. You certainly didn't feel that they felt that way either. This was anyone's game quite early on. We will be back with you shortly for more coverage at 1:45 for the mixed final, as we have had to move everything up in a contingency. We are facing lightning in the forecast tomorrow, and we can't play ultimate when, someone could get zapped. And we don't want that. You don't want that. The players don't want that. So at 1:45, it will be Harfang from Quebec versus Tobey, thank you.
A young, fresh pickup team from Toronto. All right, see